try to be best, cause you're only a man, and a man's got to learn.
Hey everyone, welcome to the round 2 review. We've had a few good games this week, a couple very, very close games to be honest. We had a few games decided, or one game decided by a couple of points, which was really good. A few bad coaching decisions this week, a lot of bad coaching decisions to be honest, which actually changed the way a few games went. But oh well, that's the way it is. Probably wondering why I'm wearing the same top again. Well, there's my Hawks top. That's for Houghton and Mick. Suck it, boys. Unlucky. West Coast, mate. Just a bunch of downhill skis. Pretty good down at Domain, but come to Melbourne and what happens? No good at the MCG. It's where the grand finals are won, mate. We had 6, 7 players missing from last year's grand final team. Not good enough, West Coast. So anyway, let's get rolling. And start off with their round 2 review. As I said, a few close games. First game was Renegades versus Seek and Destroy. I was actually quite amazed, to be honest. Renegades, who I've told Stiff a couple of times, he's got the worst list in the league. Well, obviously wasn't that bad this week because he actually got the win. Low scoring win, but still a win, and you get close to 300. You're always happy with that. It's Renegades 285, Seek and Destroy 220 now. Hate him. I know it's your first year, but if you're going to score 220, mate, just don't show up. Seriously. That's a pathetic score, 220. It's the lowest score of the year so far, or 2 rounds in. But besides the bye rounds, you'll come pretty close to finding a lower score than that for the rest of the year. So get your act together there, son. Anyway, Renegades 285 versus Seek and Destroy 220. Tom Hawkins got 19 points. Renegades full forward. Compared to Charlie Dixon, who only got the 1. Charlie Dixon was just bitching to the umpires all game. Nick Rewalt, his 300th game, got 40, which is pretty good. And Lacroix, mate, downhill skis, West Coast, only 15 points. But Dangerfield come back to earth. It just shows Geelong were building 5 months to try to get up to beat the Hawks. A 5-month build-up, and then once they obviously played the Hawks, there was nothing else for them to achieve because that was their grand final. And then they ended up losing. Dangerfield only got 50 points, but he was just beaten by 1 point by Libra in the utility spot with 51, so pretty bad there. Zach Merritt 51 as a midfielder was pretty awesome. Only Wine's got 46, which is pretty good. Once again, he doesn't know which ruck to choose, I suppose. The rucks that have been inconsistent so far. Mumford he chose this week, but Lobie had the better game. However, last week was the other way around, so who knows. And both halfbacks only got 44, which is surprising for Matt Prentice. But once again, downhill skier. What can I say? West Coast, they're no good. So yeah, but Stiff, hard to choose. I mean, Aaron Hall had another great game, so he's got to be looking to get in the run next week. Zach Merritt had a very good game. It's just 2 games in a row he's had a pretty good game. And there's obviously a few other players in his team that had pretty good choices. So a few tough choices for Stiff to make next week. Back to the drawing board for Seek and Destroy. He chose pretty much the same team as last week. His rucks really were no good. Whether he played Reece Stanley, whether he played Zach Smith, they weren't going to do any good. So I suppose he's got to have a look, see what's best is out there and see what he can do. He currently sits just outside the top 5, but it's only, as I said, 2 rounds in. So he'll learn, but seriously, 220, mate, get your act together. Next was both of Fenix teams, Rangus Anonymous versus Maltese Falcons. Rangus Anonymous 2 and zip. Believe it or not, last week's 2 and zip, unbelievable. So Rangus Anonymous 306 versus Maltese Falcons 262. So Maltese Falcons now 0 and 2. Our 3-time champ needs to get his act together and needs to figure out his best side to make a run. But look, as I said, it's only 2 rounds in. Last year I started 3 and zip and didn't make the finals, so who knows what can happen. But Jesse Hogan on both full forwards disappointing. Gunston only 8, Hogan only 7. Taylor Walker was pretty disappointing half forward, but seriously, Fennick, if you're going to play Jack Watts at half forward, who got 14 points as a half forward, don't even bother, mate. Just give us your $50, which you've already paid, thank you, and don't even show up because, mate, Jack Watts, come on. What were you doing? You had better options out there. You had so many better options. I mean, even Travis Cloak was better. Joe Danaher, believe it or not, was better, who I still can't believe. Nat Fyfe come back to his brilliant best, got 93. Lucky not to get 100 because he missed a few easy goals. And Jack Stevens, 70 utility, is pretty serviceable as well. The two midfield maestros in terms of Sam Mitchell for Rangers and Andrew Gaff for Malta's Falcons obviously done their job. Mitchell, the best scorer in midfield with 59 points, absolutely phenomenal, and Gaff got 49. Both rucks now. Tom Nichols was up against Stanley, so he was always up against, only got 18 points, but Hampson 31, not too bad. And the half-backs, 55 for Armitage, 48 for Selwood. Yeah, pretty average, and nothing else really to write home about there. As I said, Rangers got over 300 back. That's basically on the back of Nat Fyfe and Sam Mitchell. Maltese Falcons 262. Not really many scores to really crow about there. Patrick Cripps' interchange was pretty good though. He got 10 tackles, so maybe it's something you could look at. And once again, 2 games in, it's a little small sample of what we can see where our players are doing. But at the moment, 2 weeks in, I mean, every team's got players that have been consistent, which haven't been consistent, so that's just the way it is. It's hard to choose. You really need 3 or 4 rounds, I reckon, to know exactly what your team's going to be. Next game, as predicted by Mr. Dan Cole, and sorry I haven't got any notes with me today, but Dan Cole obviously shows all the mates from Manager I'm rolling. He predicted that the closest game of the round will be me, Ask Kickers United versus Jacob Jabronis. It was the highest scoring game of the round. Both of our teams are actually the 2 highest scoring teams in the competition to date. But once again, 2 rounds in. Ask Kickers United 333 defeated Jacob Jabronis on 329. Now, I'm going to be honest. I played the team that I was going to play. I was always going to choose that team, but for some reason, Jacobs Jabroni, Jabroni Houghton, why would you play Josh Hill at half forward? As I said, Josh Hill might kick a goal down at Domain Stadium where West Coast are downhill skis and they'll pick on the smaller sides. But mate, they're not going to score goals at the MGG. He goes missing. He ran into an open goal and missed it, for crying out loud. 10 points as a half forward. That's got to be the dud pick of the round. Jack Watts was a better pick at a half forward than Josh Hill. So seriously, Houghton, get your act together, because all you needed was one different player on your team and you would have won, because you only lost by 4 and Josh Hill got 10. So that's pretty pathetic. So Tom Lynch for you at full forward, 31 points, absolutely phenomenal. Me, Stringer didn't do that well. Tom Mitchell at 94 utility was great. I mean, 8 clearances, I think 9 tackles, 33 or 4 possessions. So he had a great performance as well. And then your midfielders both got 90, so Martin and Parker 45 each. And Montagna serviceable 55. And yeah, Higgins as a tackler, once again, anyone else, mate. Higgins as a tackler, he's a weak pussy. Seriously, what's he going to do? He doesn't tackle. Last week was weird. He doesn't tackle, mate. But anyway, for me, Buddy got 38 half forward, always serviceable. Nick Nat, 43. Pretty good for Nick Nat. Scott Thompson, halfback, 77. How can you can't complain about that. It's the best halfback in the game this round anyway. So you can't complain about that. And Zaharakis, 54 in the midfield. He started off the season 2 great games, so I'm pretty happy with him. For me, I think Luke Parker's been a bit disappointing. Last week, I know he was injured, only got 55. This week, he only got 63 as a utility, so I might have to look at making a change there. That Brett Even 29, pretty crap in the midfield, but these things happen. But you always say coulda, shoulda, woulda. I mean, Billy Hartung had a great game. Cyril kicked 4 or 5 goals. Who knows? You can never just. It's hard to choose your proper side, but you stick with something, see how it goes, and if you have to make changes, you make changes. Next game now, well done Dash. After scoring a dismal 230 or whatever it was last week, you actually did quite well this week and got over 300. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to Sugar Daddies. Won 325 to 305. So, believe it or not, Kenner and Sugar, both the 2 worst teams for God knows how long, are both 2 and zip to start the season off, and Dan Cole's 2 and zip, and once again, Coley's low scoring as usual, but who cares. 2 and zip for Sugar, 2 and zip for Rangers. They sit first and third on the ladder at the moment, with Coley coming in second, but I'll go over that game in a minute. Sugar Daddies, Jerry Waite, 48 at half forward, was absolutely a great performance. And full 4 for Dash, 31, Eddie Betts. It's Eddie, junk time Eddie, but actually he's been pretty good since he's been to Adelaide. He was junk time Eddie at Carlton, but he's actually been pretty good at Adelaide. Stevie J gets his old team, 34 at half forward, serviceable. Both utilities were sort of disappointing. Ablett only got 69 compared to his 98 last week, and Zeeble 57. So, I mean, you're always going to stick with Ablett utility. Zeeble, look, that's just a bad week, I suppose. You never know. He could do better, but who knows? Midfielders, like he's short 55 last week, only 28 this week, so that's a big disappointment. Robert Murphy, once again, 44 for Sugar Daddies. He's gone over 30 possessions both games. Hopefully next week he does nothing against Hawthorn. And Callum Ward in the midfield for Sugar didn't do too good either. But Max scored at the ruck 34, Trelaw 54 at halfback, serviceable. But Lukey Dalhouse 13 tackles, so he got 38 as a tackler. That's an actually great pick. And for Dasher, Sandlands 50 at the ruck. That's what we expect Sandlands to get. It's great, but it's average for him. But it's absolutely great. And Kennedy bounced back with a 60 points at half forward or halfback. Sorry, so that's pretty good. Other than that. Everyone else was pretty serviceable, pretty average, and about level, about even, and which if everyone does what they want to do, you're going to get over 300. But the performances there was Sandlands and Eddie Betts, obviously. So well done to Sugar, Till and Zip. Great start to the season. We said at the start of the year that Sugar's team and Kenner's team actually looked pretty good this year. So well done, boys. And the final game of the round, Gods of Olympus versus I'm Rolling. Mick, obviously on his flight home, didn't put his team together properly, or he did, but either way, he was a bit hampered there. Rockcliffe really only played a half. He was injured, so didn't do too much. Norton as a halfback. Last year started slow as well, so maybe he needs to look at making the change there. But for I'm Rolling, I mean, Taylor Adams got 57 as a halfback, which is serviceable. Brandon Ellis 49 in the midfield once again. If you get near 50 as a midfielder, it's absolutely phenomenal, or pretty good. I think I've said phenomenal quite a fair bit in this actual show. I warned you, Coley, about Josh Kennedy, how he does nothing at the MCG against James Frawley. He only got 24, only kicked one goal. All of his kicks and marks actually probably come from the back half of the ground if you look at his stat sheet. So, once again, he's not feasting on those lower teams down at Domain. He's playing against a real side, and that's why he lost. Both utilities were disappointing this week. Steph Martin got 66, Todd Goldstein got 56. Now Goldstein 56, when does that happen, seriously? So both midfielders for Michael, for Gods of Olympus. He's had his two Footscray boys, Johansson and McRae. They were pretty good. Lockie Hunter probably would have been better, but once again, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Basher Hooley would have been better. And Mix Ruck, Kurt Tibbett, 28. Serviceable. Tom Hickey couldn't get his 55, or 58 as he did last week. He only got 23 this week. And yeah, other than that, let's be honest, that game was pretty crap. 253-276. So pretty low scoring there, and that's I'm Rolling. We got that win there. So I mean, Houghton's a bit unlucky. Playing Josh Hill number one as a half forward was pretty crap. But he got the second highest score of the week, and he would have been every other team besides me. So unlucky, mate. So definitely a game of the round there. And the ladder after 2 rounds sees Sugar Daddies on 2 wins at 35 with a total score of 646. I'm Rolling second, score of 598. Rangers Anonymous third, score of 579. Jake Jabroni's the highest scoring team of the competition so far, 663. They're on 1 win. Also on 1 win is myself, Ask Kickers United on 648, which is the second highest score of the comp. Second Destroy is 6th, 567 combined. Renegades also 1 win, 543, and the rest of the teams haven't got a registered a win yet. And all but the top 4 are actually on a positive point difference there. So well done so far after 2 rounds. Next week, round 3. We'll do the preview come Thursday. Once again, I'll give you the round 2 leaders. Eddie Betts and Tom Litch from Gold Coast were the best full forwards in the game this week, 31 points each, followed by Tom Hawkins 19. The best half forward this week was Jarrah Waite with 48, followed by Nick Ritwell 40, and Jack Reel and Buddy both got 38 there for third. So well done, Jarrah Waite. Best utility was Jacob Jabroni's Tom Mitchell, 94, followed by Knight Fife with 93. And you have to go down for a 70 for Jack Stevens there for the next best one. The best midfielder in the game, midfielder/follower, Sammy Mitchell, 59. He just keeps on going. get his Brownlow soon, him and Cochin. Zaharakis got 54, Merrick got 51. So 2 Essendon boys there getting big scores. The best ruckman was Stan Lands on 50, followed by Jacobs and Nadanui on 43. Best halfback was Arse Kickers United Scott Thompson, after he was ridden off by Dan Cole earlier in the week, telling him he's too old and he's too slow and he shouldn't be playing halfback. He got 77. Josh Kennedy 60 and Taylor Adams 57. So besides Scott Thompson 77, no other halfback really did well this week. And the best tackler by a long way, and will be tough to find, will probably could only be 1 or 2 scores better than this all season, is Lukey Dowhouse on 38. Then Josh Caddy, 18 and down pressed to 15. The preview for round 3 will be out Thursday, if not Friday. Well done, guys. Thanks very much. Well done to this week's winners. We have 3 teams undefeated, and we have 3 teams that haven't won a game yet. So let's all see what happens come round 3. See you all.
You can have your dream. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. And nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around.